Hi YouTube! I recently requested a few titles to review on NetGalley. I got turned down for quite a lot, which was kind of expected because I'm very new at this, but I got accepted for a few as well. And one of them I just finished yesterday, so I thought I'd do a review on here. I've already submitted my review to NetGalley, which is a little bit exciting and nervous. Hopefully I've done it right and it's okay. But this book is called Henchgirl by Rita Stradling. And it's an author I've not heard of before, but I will read you the blurb so that you get the general gist of the book. It says, the children of dragons and humans, the Drakons, control 80% of the world's governments. Humans worldwide are either subservient or prey. On the small island vacation of Marby, humans call for war. 16-year-old Dakota Kakoa lives a double life. By day, she pretends to be a human to infiltrate Marby Academy, a human-only high school. At night, she works as a henchman for her draconic mafia family, utilizing her ability to steal and manipulate souls. When Dakota's human friend is kidnapped, she takes on a mission to find her. This is not just any mission, though. She's diving headfirst into the escalating conflict between humans and dragons. As more girls disappear and some are discovered dead, Dakota realizes her first honorable mission may also be her last. Now, this sounded intriguing to me. I love dragons. I love fantasy. This is a fantasy YA book, and it's the first in a series, and it sounded like a good read, so I requested it from NetGalley and I was accepted, which was great. It was a very quick read. Dakota is a character I think I need to see a lot more of. She has a few annoying traits. She's apparently been working for her grandfather, doing his bidding for a few years, I think 3 or 4 years, but when it came to taking orders or being able to assess the situation and make more of a rational soldier kind of analogy of it, she turned very much into a 16-year-old girl very quickly, which I kept on to remind myself, yeah, okay, she's only 16, but she'd been doing this job for several years, so she should have been a little bit better prepared to handle some things and better able to make some decisions and assumptions about what was going on around her in certain situations. I don't want to give any spoilers away, so I'm trying very hard not to say, oh, this scene should have totally been different. I'm going to try and keep the review spoiler-free. The cover for the book was actually one thing that drew me to it. Just put this up here, hopefully it'll show her. It's an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous island-themed cover, which works very well with the book because Marby very early on sounded much like Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii, but it sounded very reminiscent of that. And at the end of the book, the author actually says that she did base it sort of on Hawaii, but not fully on it. So it's like just as a rough outline of what the island would be like. But this cover I thought was beautiful. And then I didn't realise that this was only the paperback cover. The ebook cover I will show you got a little bit whitewashed, which was a bit of a shame. This was the ebook cover. Now this is Dakota, but in the book she talks repeatedly about how her skin is a darker tone, how she has dark hair, dark eyes, but this is very clearly a very pale white girl with light brown hair. So I'm not really sure why they didn't use the island themed book cover for both the ebook and the paperback book. A little bit disappointing. As I've already mentioned from the book blurb, Dakota works for her grandfather and she is part dragon, so she has some abilities, one of which is being able to manipulate souls, which is a very interesting ability and something that I enjoyed reading about. I've not seen that in a book before. She's able to sort of peel back layers of a person's soul and manipulate their emotions through that. So if she wants to go and intimidate someone for her grandfather, she can pour fear into them while she's doing that. Or another example is if she wanted someone to make a deal, she could pour empathy or take away any doubt that they had, which I think is an interesting skill to have, something I've not seen in a book before and definitely something I want to see more of. I'm kind of hoping that Dakota grows as a character to be less irritating and teenage girlish and to be more of a focus on the ability that she has and using that, because she uses it a few times, but I think she could have utilised it a lot more. That's the interest for me, but that might just be me. The dragon mythology in the book is really well done. I love this world building. It's great that it's set on Hawaiian-based islands. Marby sound fantastic place to be. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the characters, but the dragon world building specifically has a lot of interesting elements. The dragons, for example, can't be on land on Earth's surface very long. They actually live way, way, way down near the Earth's core where it's hotter. It's too cold on the Earth's surface for them to be there very long. So there are a lot of bonuses to being a full-blooded dragon and even half-blooded or whatever, but there's also drawbacks, and I enjoyed that balance between the positive and negative. And again, with Dakota's abilities, she has positives and negatives to that. So there's a good balance, and it was interesting the way that the author wrote that her family utilised not just the positive aspects of it, but something that would be a negative for someone. The family managed to utilise it and turn it into a positive for other members of the family, which was a really nice twist. Wyvern is another of the main characters who I'd like to see a lot more of. I'm just worried about where his character's going to go with the development. At the moment, he is a very sort of pushy, dominating, controlling kind of character. And that's the kind of male character I don't really enjoy reading. I don't find that attractive. Just dominating the woman completely, not letting her make her own decisions, like she's an object. The author puts it into perspective that that's the way dragons are, but he's only part dragon and he's lived on Earth all his life, I believe, so it's a little bit of a reach that he wouldn't have interacted with any kind of females who he didn't consider as objects. So I'm kind of hoping that his character develops in a way that he realises that he can change, and he does change a little bit throughout the book, so maybe that's the direction it's heading, that he's going to change because he realises, oh yeah, women are actually equals, and I hope it isn't just a change where like, oh, I need to do these things just to please this girl, because that's just as bad. But overall, he's an interesting character, and I would like to see more of him. I definitely want to see where his character goes, and I hope that the depth of his character comes out in the next novel and further than that. There was a romance element in the book that didn't start at the beginning, it was sort of midway through, and it got heavier and heavier through the book. It started very much of a full-on fantasy, action, urban fantasy kind of book, and I enjoyed that. And then the romance kind of took over a little bit, which is slightly frustrating, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a front runner in the next books or not. I hope it's more of a subplot rather than the main plot, as this is a fantasy series, not a romance series. But maybe she's going to turn into a romance series, I don't know. I'm more interested to find out about more of the dragon lore and mythology, more about Dakota's powers and her siblings and other family members as well with powers, and also about the interaction between the dragons, humans and full dragons. That's where my interest lies. So I hope that that gets more of a weight to it in future books than the romance element. Although the romance is still going to be good to read about, I just didn't really want it as the front runner. There were a few plot points that were left open-ended, such as why Wyvern is the way he is, and why Dakota's grandfather knows why it is, but nobody else does, and we don't know yet as readers. I hope that sort of gets developed a little bit more. And a gift that she received at the end, I would like to know more about that. For the most part, the plot moved at a good pace. There were a few scenes that I felt were superfluous and could have been taken out and the book wouldn't have lost anything. It felt a little bit like padding. There were also a couple of times where, I mean, they are trying to save somebody's life and trying to rescue someone who may be in mortal danger, and they're just dressing up for fancy balls all over the place. And throughout that ball, don't really worry about these people they're trying to save until after the meal's ended. They're like, oh yeah, I should probably get back on that. Yeah, you think? So that was a little bit of a strange thing to have in there. But for the most part, the plot moved well. And even though those scenes felt disjointed with the plot, they still gave away elements of different plot points. So they were needed in that sense. But I don't think they were worked into the main plot as well as they could have been. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. I definitely recommend it. There are some negatives to it that I think it's a first book in a series, and I'm not sure if it's the first book by the author, so maybe it's just some kinks that she needs to work out. But hopefully those will be worked out in future novels. I definitely want to read more about the world, about the setting. It's great to have it set in an island scene rather than just the normal generic city-states that you get in urban fantasy novels all the time. So that was definitely refreshing. And the world building and the dragons definitely caught my interest. So I'm looking forward to read more of this series, and I would rate this book 4 out of 5. Let me know in the comments if you've read this or any other dragon books that you think that I would enjoy. I'll put a link to this one in the description below if you want to check it out. And thanks for watching. I hope the review was okay. This is kind of my first YouTube video of a review. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!